I go to games now just to see who's leaving the game early when they scouting these games. That's why that's why they don't know who can play and who can't play. Because these executives who be going to these games, and I'm saying this with air quotes, scouting these games, they're leaving the games early. Maybe they not seeing the same thing that some of us who are sitting there watching the whole game see. So then when we see these behaviors show up in the NBA, we not surprised. That's why I know two people, myself and Scott, we not surprised because we all know. We know. All the scouts and executives who are watching these young players, we know who can play. This is not a surprise because we saw the same behavior years before. Now they want to blame the players. No, I'm not blaming the players. I'm blaming the people who drafted them. I'm identifying the behavior. I'm identifying all of the things that we have access to. I'm identifying the character. We know who can play. We know who can play. But we also know who are they're doing the promo ads in the magazines and the promo ads in all of these places. No, I'm not buying that. Everybody knows who can play if you're watching the game. Wink, wink. We all know. Everybody knows who are actually watching the full game. And they're doing the homework live. They're not reading headlines. So they can pretend, but today, no, let's get to the people who are making these decisions. The players are the players. You can't be mad at the players. Now, if it's one thing that we know from a city like Detroit that you're going to get out of Detroit, is toughness. We know that. We know what's needed to play in this league is toughness. And now what have we gotten away from now? And if a guy like me at my size could play 82 games, for not 1 year, for multiple years.
Yeah, that's
okay. And there was another guy who was 40 years old who had 1 million miles on his body, and he still played 82 games.
And he was
I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear what they got to say. If that's your distraction, I know what it is. I know what this is.
I love that BJ started this episode by saying he ain't even gonna go there.
No, I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
And here we are.
but here we are saying things that we know is not true. We know it's not true. If you want to play 82 games, there's people who know how to do it. There's people who know how to do it. If you want it, we keep highlighting Mamba mentality. Well, where did he learn it? He learned it from somebody. So what did he know? What library was he going to that's different than the library that he's going to now? And everybody telling me Mamba mentality. I remember when this gentleman right here, Scott Perry, called me and saw him in high school. How did he know that in high school?
Yeah.
Now, that's a fact. He got his scouting reports from Kobe Bryant in high school. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That man called me on the phone. So I don't want to hear this nonsense that I know don't exist online. He called me from high school and he told me about Kobe Bryant. So how did he know? What is Scott? Now, Scott Perry is the Yoda. How did he know this in high school? He ain't saying it in 2024. How did he know it? You know why he knew it? Because he didn't leave the game early. You know how he knew it? Because he did his work. And you know how he did it? Because that man is a professional at what he do. How did he know that? That man called me and told me, quote, I think I just saw something. How did he know that?
Well, Scott, let me ask you this. Just circling back to the original question.
And Scott, confirm what I said is true or not. So that
let me make it. So, and I'm gonna take it one step further. That story, because I had called you, and then if you remember, I had come to Chicago. I believe you were getting ready to get.
Scott, this ain't online, so it's not true. Scott, this ain't if it's not online. You might tell the truth now.
Yeah. So, and I remember being in the car with you. I was riding in the back seat. Terry Porter was in the front seat, if you remember that. And we were talking ball. We were actually on our way to go play golf, and I'm in the back, and I said, "There's this young guy that I'm recruiting right now." I said, he's gonna be the closest thing to Michael Jordan you're gonna see. Now
Scott,
Terry
how'd you?
Porter, now Terry Porter, mind you, had never met me before. He was close with BJ. He knew who I was, but obviously I knew who Terry Porter was. And I could see him looking over like at BJ saying, like, man, what's the matter with your guy in the back? He's talking crazy. And I told him the reason why I could say that, because I spent a lot of time in Philadelphia with Kobe and his dad. And I watched him in the summertime, playing summer league and then going to the gym 11 at night, midnight, watching him work on his craft. And I knew that was uncommon for young people. The year prior to that, I was recruiting a young guy by the name of Kevin Garnett that had a tremendous work ethic like that. And I knew he was going to be great, but Kevin was 7 feet. And I was an assistant, when I'm referring to you at the time, I was an assistant at the University of Michigan at this time. And so, yeah, I had no problem saying that to BJ because of just, again, obviously understanding the history of the game, being around the game, played the game, and watching people, and then watching this young guy, Kobe Bryant. I had no problem going on that limb. Matter of fact, I even went, but when I was recruiting him, I went into our coaches meeting. Steve Fisher was the head coach. I'll never forget. We used to always talk about recruiting, and this was when Kobe was a junior, rising to be a senior. And we had 7 or 8 McDonald All-Americans already on our Michigan team. Now you got to remember, we just coming off of the Fab Five, and we had another group of guys that were going to be lottery picks. And I remember telling Steve, I said, as good as everybody is that we think in this locker room, we don't have anybody close to this kid. And I remember Steve looked at me like I had 2 heads at one time
And Scott,
until it proved. So,
and I'm gonna ask you a question. How did this young man, the late Kobe Bryant, how did he go 13th in the draft, somewhere around there?
Exactly.
And how did Scott know, Mo? How did Scott know this then? And he didn't say it casually to get a. There was no such. We weren't trolling, Scott. Hey, Mo, we weren't trolling. that concept hadn't come around yet. How did he know? And the paid executives who get paid to do this, millions of dollars, didn't know. So what he saw, he was looking in a different portal. He has Scott Perry's glasses is different. It's a different dimension. Quantum physics. What did he know that the rest of it didn't know? And how did we know it? Because we all saw it. We all saw it. This man right here called me in high school and told me, well, what did he know that the rest of the other people who getting paid millions of dollars in a league didn't know? That's when I said, oh, all right. Oh, they showing me what it is now. You can talk about it, but Scott Perry had did the work. So that's when I knew what this league was really all about. That's when I knew. So if we want to correct it, then you got to have people like Scott Perry there. He knew it. Scott, who called you after he saw LeBron as a freshman? Who called you?
You called me. Because
So
I
how
remember
did I
that.
know?
I remember coming back. Yeah, I remember that phone call because that was the year. There was 4 big guys. It was the year that Kwame Brown. It was that preparing for that draft. That
Kwame
Brown went
Brown,
number 1.
Eddie
Sagana
Curry.
Diop, Eddie Curry, and Tyson Chandler.
There you go.
And so BJ was working in Chicago, and he had gone to see, I believe it was Kwame, but they were playing against LeBron's high school, or LeBron was in the same tournament. And I can remember talking to BJ, and I said, "Well, how was the tournament? How was the big guys?" I was Kwame, and I think Sagana Diop was in there as well too. He said, "I don't know. I don't need to talk about them. Who was this kid, LeBron James?" Because BJ had never seen him.
He was a freshman, Mo. He was a freshman in high school. The point being, Mo, the people who know. And the only way you gonna know this, Mo, you got to be there in the gym to do the work. So So now the decisions that's being made, Scott, after every draft, I'm talking to Scott, man. Hey man, what they seeing, we not seeing.
Mhm. Yeah.
So we know what this is. We know how it is. And we know that you're not going to be scouting on film. You got to get to the gym and you got to watch this live.
Yeah. And
That-
and you've heard me say this countless times, Mo. You got to get to that gym and hang around that gym and not only get a feel for the skill set and talent, but that's where you learn the character and about that person.
You don't tell them that's got
Because see, competition reveals all that. And if you've been in competition and truly understand competition, you kind of know what to look for when it comes to evaluating players. And I've said it all the time. They're not mutually exclusive. That talent and that person, it's all together.
there you
So
go.
you better know. So that's why for me, the Kevin Garnett's, the Kobe Bryant's, when I saw them in high school, you being around them for a short time, you just knew. Barring any injury, I knew it was greatness right there.